Hi, my name is Alex with AC Kives Heating and Air Conditioning, and today I'm going to show you how to assemble the chiller lines for a fan coil unit. This video is mainly targeted to people that are learning on how to work on these fan coil systems and chiller lines with basically everything commercial. This is not really anything residential. This is a completely different ballgame. Well, with that in mind, I'm going to start showing you what we have. First of all, this is for the supply line. The water line comes right here. See this? The water line comes right here and it goes into the fan coil right here. Alright? And then I also wanted to show you this right here is for the temperature, and this is for us to close and to turn on the water. And then this over here, I'll get into it later, but it's called a strainer. You see? A strainer. You can close and turn it on right here. And I'll go into more depth later on in the video. This is what comes out from the coil. The coil is right here, and then this is where it's going to come out. This one is a temperature sensor, and right here is an air bleeder. Whenever you first turn on the system, you're going to have to take out all the air from the coil from right here. Alright, and I'll show you later once we get to it. And both of these are just keys that you're able to check the temperature and the pressures right here, and then you're able to close it. Same thing right here, but they both have a specific direction it goes. Like this one goes up, this one goes down. You got to put in the right order. Let's see that one. There we go. You kind of see it right there. Alright, and then the most important thing is this, the actuator. Let me see which, right here. There we go. This is the actuator. And then we wrote this for the fan coil number 6, so you can ignore that. But this is what basically this does is, you see these have directions. Here's the arrow. This has the direction of where the water is going to be flowing, and this will either close over here or down here. And I'll get to more into that later. Alright. So, like I was saying, this is the supply. The water comes from the chiller right here and goes into the coil right here. And that's basically pretty much it what this does. And then this one goes right here into the actuator. Y esto los voy a cortar. En el video lo voy a cortar. No, pero está bien, no, te voy a ayudar. Se pone así. Ya. Ok, sigue explicando. Ok. Creo que no, esta es la forma de armar. Okay, we're just doing the rough. Abajo, tú vas. Ahí está, ya. No está prendido lo todo. Ya está, solo que no se mueva. Esto es lo más importante. Y esto que va aquí. Así. Alright, so basically whenever you build it, it's supposed to look like this. The supply comes from here, the chiller, into the coil right here on this side. Alright, so I'm going to show you. The chiller is over here, and the coil is going to be over here where I'm standing at, right here. Alright, so the chilled water from the chiller is going to come in. Alright, so this is how it's going to be built in a perfect world. Alright, where I'm standing, I'm going to be the fan coil, and over here, this is the chiller. Alright, so the chiller is going to send water from here to the coil, and then from here, it's just going to do a loop-de-loop all the way to here, and it goes out back to the chiller. So that's how it really works. So what the actuator does is whenever it's calling for cooling, it covers this bottom piece so the water will go up here, and it stops right there, sending the water into the coil, cold water, and going back out right here. And it's just like a regular air conditioner. Cold water comes in, warm water comes out, because it's absorbing all the heat and moisture from inside the building. But let's say it got to its set point and now it doesn't need to be turned on. The actuator is going to cover over here, so the water will stop right here and it'll keep going right here. So the coil is now not getting into a cold temperature and it's in the off state, and that's what the actuator does. And then the actuator also determines how many gallons per minute it does. It has a 24 volts to actually move the actuator up and down, and a 10 volt DC to determine how open it is. And I'll show you later in the video how it actually looks like when it's opening and when it's closing. But that's pretty much it on how these work. There's nothing too much to it. And then, like I said, these blue ones are for temperatures, these red ones are for pressure. And that's really much to it. Whenever you're first starting off the unit, you're gonna all these valves are gonna be closed, right? Oh, this one's closed already. So when you, let's say you're starting off the unit, there's no water on this side, but there's water over here. What you're first gonna do is open this air bleeder all the way in, so the air can come out, and then you're gonna make sure all of these lines are closed, and you're gonna slowly open this, and you're gonna start hearing a lot of air coming out through here. All right. Once you see water coming out, that's when you're gonna actually close this up. Close this up. Let me see. Does it focus? You're gonna close this up so water does no longer leaking right there. And then you'll be able to turn this line on, and then turn this line on as well. See? There's really nothing much to it. And then whenever you're doing the maintenance on it, all you're gonna do is close this off, close these off, and then you're just gonna, on the strainer, you're just gonna unscrew it. You see this filter? Come on. Maybe if I focus right here, you see? This is gonna be dirty. You just clean it out with the sink hose. And there's really nothing inside. It's just a regular valve. You just put it in here. Once it's all clean, tighten it up with a tool, not just by hand, and you're good to go. And then, of course, there's really nothing much to it. If you have any questions, you're more than free to call us right here at 817-986-4734. Or you can email us, text us, anything if you have any questions. But it's really simple. These are special made to make our lives easier. like we made this piece right here to hook it up with the water hose. You can put a water hose right here, and then we can just open it up, and we can put it in a bucket and everything. It's just so we can have a flexible line, easier to work on in the future. And then we can take everything out. And of course, when you take these out, you took out all the water from the coil, so you're gonna have to do the same process again to take out the air from the coil. And that's pretty much it. And we'll show you an example, because this is for a perfect world where we have a whole bunch of space to do all of this like this. But in this place that we're working at right now, we only have access for like 2 feet from the ceiling to the actual place. So we have to make adjustments. Ours actually look like this. Like that. It's backwards, and there's a big U over here. See? And that's how we had to work, because there's literally nothing that we could have done. If we put it perfectly on top, this would have probably fit, but I wouldn't be able to see which way the actuator is. So in case in the future we need to see if the actuator is open or closed, or if it's stuck, we can see it down here, but we cannot see it up there because it's already touching the ceiling. So you always have to think ahead. Don't think about right now, always think about the future and how you're going to maintain these units. Alright. Right now, we're going to move the camera to show you how we actually got this done on this unit. And like I said, it's really easy. We're going to probably show you how to clean the strainer. This one might not be dirty, but it's just an example that you guys can have. Alright. Okay. I also did want to mention this actuator, because it is controlled with 24 volts and 10 volts DC, you're going to need a special controller. We have the Neptronic, you see that? Controller. And then these are just, if you've worked on commercial units, you know there's on rooftop packages, there's like a controller that can control basically whatever you want. This one is also basically the same thing. There's 16 wires, only one of them is going to be connected to the actual actuator, and this will determine how open or closed you want. This is basically a computer, that's why it's called a controller. But that's really how it works. And in the video that's coming soon, I'm going to show you how this is actually programmed, because this is used with a computer, or you can also do it in here. It's just more tedious. The manual is like around 40 pages long, so it's way better to use a computer than this. We have one running.